Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start the next chapter, The Journey Begins. I had told you the previous day in the previous class that you go through the chapter, you read the chapter so that you can understand the story, how it goes on or how it starts. So, here in this story, it's quite interesting. It's a quite interesting story, and what happens here is there is a man called Phileas Fogg, and he is very well known for his punctuality. Okay, he is very punctual. He is always on time. And what kind of just let me give you one example for his punctuality, and that is for referring to time or for knowing what the time is, we try to we watch the clock, right? We see the time what it is. But he was such kind of a punctual person that people used to see him and they could find out, they could understand what the time right now is going on. Can you understand? Can you believe that how much punctual he might be, that people used to refer him or people used to use him as an example for finding out the time, what the time right now it will be. Okay, so and then what happens is he has a group, he has a some other members are also there along with him, and in that group's name is Reform Club. And what happens in that Reform Club, they were talking about they were gossiping about some issues, some happenings which were going around the world, and one such issue suddenly it came out, and that was of making a tour. You know, tour, TOUR, that means going round, making a journey. Okay, that is a tour, and making that journey around the whole world. And within how much time? There was a bet going on. You understand bet? That means you call it in Hindi as bazi lagana. So just shart lagana, just like that. So they played a bet that if you win this, then so and so, like that. So that will continue, and what happens, that is the all story about. Let's start. It's very interesting. You will feel very good with this, very that means very exciting in this story. So let's start. First of all, this Journey Begins is just a part. Okay, it's a small part, it's not a whole story, it's a small part from, and it is adapted from the particular piece that is named Around the World in 80 Days. To mark this, even I am also marking with you, Around the World in 80 Days. So the Journey Begins, this is adapted from the piece called Around the World in 80 Days, and this is written by Jules Verne. Now let's read this introductory part, what it tells us about. How long, just imagine yourself what it is saying. Okay, how long would it take you to go around the world? Have you ever thought about it, that how much time it might take for you to make a round or make a journey about the whole world? We can't even think that also, right? But if we even try to imagine how much time it can take, like sort of a whole life it might take, right? If you get into a satellite carrier, it may take you around the earth in just an hour and a half. But the earth is not the same as the world. There is some difference between the world and the earth. Okay, the world means countries, cities, towns and villages. In short, people. If you travel by air, you can go around the world. Yes, we can travel by flights with some stopovers and changes of flights. Yes, in some destination or in some airports, we do have to change our flights. We do have a change. That means via we need to go from this place to that place, then back to our destination. So these things happen, and if you have to travel to quite a far distance, then also it might take 2 to 3 days. It might happen. But suppose just think about the previous time, okay, when there were no aeroplanes and there were no motor cars. At that time, that means what? People, how did they travel even then? That means at that point of time, there was nothing, there was no aeroplane, there was no motor cars. Then how did they travel? How can it happen? How long would it take you to go around the world then? Then how long it will take you for now when we have this aeroplanes and this all the kinds of transportation we have, so it makes easy for us to travel or go from one place to another, so that we can reach within a short time. Even now we have to go to Delhi. Okay, for example, we have to go from here to Delhi. It takes around 2.5 days or 2 days, something like that, if we go by train. But for example, if we go by flight, we can reach within one day, not even one day, within just a couple of hours. So that is how fast our transportation has become. But you just think about that past time when there was no aeroplane, there were no motor cars, suppose this this trains also. Then how people how they managed. So in this text, what we are going to talk about, that person, okay, I told you about that person who that punctual man. His name is Phileas Fogg. Accepts a challenge by his friends. You mark this line. What you get about this story is, in this text, Phileas Fogg accepts a challenge by his friends to travel around the world in 80 days. This text is from the novel Around the World in 80 Days, written in 1873. Okay, I have also marked, you also mark. So in this chapter or in this story, what we are going to talk about, or what we are going to learn about, we are going to know about the punctual nature of the person, this Phileas Fogg, and also we are going to know that how Phileas Fogg is going to travel from one place to another, and also he travels around the whole world and comes back within 80 days. That was the I'm breaking this. Okay, let me not say, but it is already said here that Phileas Fogg had met the. Okay, no. Phileas Fogg returned back within 80 days. That is the thing here which he says, and that was actually the bet about. Okay, I have told everything. Anyways, the text is from the novel Around the World in 80 Days, written in 1873. So this part is important. We already got to know in the very beginning we started. So we got to know that this text is taken from the novel Around the World in 80 Days, and this was written in 1873. So this is our first question. Okay, I'll give the question later on. Next, Phileas Fogg. Now our main story starts. This was just the introduction part. Okay. So Phileas Fogg shut the door of his house. Now you see what kind of punctual nature, or what is his daily routine. Okay, how he deals with, how he carries on his daily routine. Just see, whatever he does from time to time, it is all mentioned here. See, Phileas Fogg shut the door of his house at exactly 11:30 in the morning. 11:30 means 11:30 in the morning. He comes out of his house at exactly 11:30 in the morning. Remember, Fogg believed in time. Okay, when he arrived at a place, people looked at their watches to check the time. So punctual was he. I will tell you to also mark this line. Phileas Fogg shut the door of his house at exactly 11:30 in the morning. Fogg believed in time. When he arrived at a place, people looked at their watches to check the time. So punctual was he. This is about his punctual nature. It can be one of the example of his punctuality. Okay. The house being shut at the usual time, Fogg went straight to the Reform Club for breakfast. Now, after coming out of his house, where he went? He went to the Reform Club. I had mentioned about it. He always used to visit there, and he went there for breakfast. On arrival, Actually, you mark this paragraphs because this will fall under the daily routine of Phileas Fogg. Okay, the house being shut at the usual time, Fogg went straight to the Reform Club for breakfast. On arrival, he went at once to the dining room and took his place at his usual table, which had already been laid for him. Breakfast was washed down with several cups of tea before he rose at 13 minutes to 1. Now see, very peculiar kind of details you will find here, that see, he comes out of his house at exactly 11:30. Then from there he moves to the Reform Club to have breakfast. And after entering the Reform Club, then what happens? See, here already mentioned, on arrival he went at once to the dining room. No here and there, no checking out with people, no having any conversation with people. He directly moved into the dining room and took his place at his usual table. His table was also the same. Okay, he used to sit in the same place. He used to sit on the same table. The same chair, he used to use that. No change were there. That was just totally that means reserved for him. Took his place at his usual table, which had already been laid for him. See, the people, what are they called? The workers, what are they called? Sorry, I forgot the name. The persons who are working in the restaurant, waiters, yeah, sorry. So the waiters also, they knew that the person is going to come here and sit, and before he comes, okay, before he takes his place, his breakfast is totally laid down for him. It is all ready for him before he comes. Okay, it is all ready, and which had already been laid for him. Breakfast was washed down with several cups of tea. It was breakfast was washed down means the dish that was there, it was properly washed, and there it was laid, it was ready with several cups of tea before he rose at 13 minutes to 1. See how particularly he followed the time. Not at 1. He could rise up at 1, but no. He rose at that particular time when it is going to be 1. Before that, 13 minutes before, he rose when it was to become 1 p.m. You understood? He came out in the morning at 11:30 in the morning from his house, and now from the Reform Club he would go out from the Reform Club just when it will be remaining 13 minutes to become 1 p.m. See how particular he was. Then he walked towards the reading room. Now you see, sorry, he did not come out of the Reform Club, but from the dining room he moved to the reading room. Okay, he used to remain there. After having his breakfast, he used to move to the reading room, where he was handed a copy of the Times. Phileas Fogg read the paper until 3:45. See, so many details you will find about him. Then this is also I am marking. Okay, this page I have marked actually all of them, if you can see. Yes, I have marked them. So you will also mark this. Then he walked towards the reading room, where he was handed a copy of the Times. Now after coming out of the dining room, he now moved to the reading room, and there, when he entered the reading room, he was handed this copy, that means the paper, that was the Times. Okay, Phileas Fogg read the paper until 3:45. 3:45 means till it was not 4 before that. Okay, his next task, let's see what do we else find. His next task, reading the Standard, occupied him till the dinner hour. Past dinner, Mr. Fogg reappeared in the reading room and sat down at 20 minutes to 6. Again, after reading the Times, he read the Standard, that was another magazine, and that he read up to the dinner hour. Just think, my goodness. past dinner, that means after dinner, Mr. Fogg reappeared in the reading room and sat down at 20 minutes to 6. Is that a dinner hour? Okay, anyways, it might happen for him. 20 minutes to 6, when it was not yet 6, but it was to be 6, but before that 20 minutes was left. That is the thing. Half an hour later, several members of the reform came in and drew up to the fireplace, where a fire was burning steadily and Fogg had already taken his place. And after his dinner, he sat in this room. What is this room? The room is the name of the room is not mentioned, but that is a fireplace. Okay, in a room there was a fireplace. Even you can see in the next page also, this is a fire. This is the fireplace, and he is just sitting by the side. And the person who has just sat by the side, no, he is Phileas Fogg. A fire was burning steadily, and Fogg had already taken his place. And when the people would come, the other members of the Reform Club, then they would find this what is his name, Phileas Fogg, already in his place, taking his place. Now, who are these members? Okay, who are these extra members of the Reform Club? This question is very important. The members were Mr. Fogg's usual companions. Mark this line. Okay, let me show you. The members were Mr. Fogg's usual companions: Andrew Stuart, an engineer; John Sullivan and Samuel Fallentin, both bankers; Thomas Flanagan, a brewer; and Gauthier Ralph, one of the directors of the Bank of England. See, I have marked till this. I have marked this first paragraph, you can see. This first paragraph I have marked. The next paragraph I have left, this one no need, and then this one I have marked. This paragraph I have marked. Okay. So, the members were Mr. Fogg's usual companions. So, what are the names now? How many members were there? If you see, Andrew Stuart, you will if you say for 2 to 3 times, then the name will be totally clear to you. Andrew Stuart, he was an engineer. John Sullivan and Samuel Fallentin, how many gone? 3. They were both bankers. Then Thomas Flanagan, he was a brewer. Then Gauthier Ralph, he was one of the directors of the Bank of England. And taking Phileas Fogg, there were 6 members. Okay, there were 6 members. Phileas Fogg himself, then Gauthier Ralph, Thomas Flanagan, Andrew Stuart, Samuel Fallentin, and John Sullivan. 6 members. This part is very important. Okay, the names of the Reform Club. This is very important. Okay, we'll stop here only, because within this we have got a lot of details. So I'll stop up to here. You read up to this part, and then in the next day we will continue. This will take a little time, but actually I am stopping here because this part, up to this part, you have got, there are a lot of details, so you just go through this. Okay, and I'll be giving the questions below after you have seen the video, and then you can attempt the inside questions. Okay, so yeah, thank you.